Hello, Internet. My name is Chamomile.
And I'm Chamomile's conscience. It's been a
Uh,
while, hasn't it, again, Chamomile?
yeah, no, I thought I had gotten rid of you.
Well, I mean, ever since, you may have been involved in the death of Requiem and you imprisoned him in that Sora action figure, poor innocent Requiem, who has ever done anything to harm anyone ever, I just had to come back and torment you over doing that.
Are you sure you're my conscience? I don't think my conscience is this gullible. I mean, pretty much the only time one of those occult gifts has gone well for me is when I used one of them to entrap his soul.
And now you can't find his soul, so you should at least feel guilty about that.
I mean, I guess it is on me for inviting twins onto the show, but, like, how was I supposed to know she was going to release the soul of my co-host, which was trapped in a $100 figurine, by the way?
The Heartless were using Maleficent from the beginning. She failed to notice the darkness in her heart eating away at her.
I mean, it seems like that's not what happened. Like, you did something magical with your Keyblade to her.
Alright. Now, this battle requires a little bit of concentration. So, you can just freestyle for the next 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, first of all, everything in that conversation previously sounded like some sort of innuendo. Like, there was talked about keyholes and Kyrie being inside Sora, and, like, it took all my intellectual willpower to resist commenting upon it. And I guess I failed because I'm now commenting upon it. I know we said no more Freudianism. But you can't talk about keyholes that much and not bring Freud into it. Like, is Freud's ghost going to be the final battle in this? Is that what's going to happen? He's going to walk out and be like, oh, I see. You've yet to understand the meaning of the keyhole. So now I assume that Kyrie is the protagonist of the rest of the game and the rest of the series.
I mean, that would be much cooler than what actually happens, but no.
The chart with the goth prep, popular goth prep nerd jock XY axis.
Right?
So you know a goth jock hybrid is a punk.
Right.
So what is a prep nerd hybrid? I think I've actually figured it out.
Don't worry, Sora. If anyone can save you,
I mean,
you can.
a prep with particularly good grades, I guess? I don't know. Preps have
A
bad
hips-
grades in the first place, but...
A hipster.
Yeah, no, okay, that does work.
So the opposite of a punk is a hipster, and I feel like that works too.
What do you mean you're not sure why the Heartless are getting stronger? It's a major plot point. She isn't paying attention either.
I guess it's more than just a fairy tale. Well, let's go.
It's more than just a fairy tale.
Why not?
It's an anime. Because you're a girl. The Oath Keeper is only 1 strength point down instead of 2. But it actually increases my magical power. So...
Is that the final Keyblade?
it is not.
Oh.
For starters, there's if you do all the crafting, which we're not going to do because it takes forever, but there is an Ultima Keyblade, which is the Keyblade for the Moogles, I guess? It's a very gameplay-driven, secret infinity +1 sword kind of Keyblade, so... It's the only one where there's really no clear character it's attached to. The Alice in Wonderland Keyblade is a little bit up in the air. Like, I guess it's Alice's, maybe the Queen of Hearts, something. This isn't what I wanted. But we also have a Riku Keyblade we have to go and fetch.
Oh. After we kiss him, right?
That scene doesn't come until Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh.
See, you're invested now. You got to play through at least that far to the third game in the series, Kingdom Hearts 2.
Now it's 2020, and the lead singer of My Chemical Romance writes superhero comic books.
Really?
Yeah, he wrote the Umbrella Academy. People complain about fast travel in Oblivion and Skyrim, but like actually having to walk around to places in Morrowind was kind of excruciating.
Yeah, the best way to do it, and Oblivion and Skyrim skip over this, is fast travel points should have to be unlocked by walking there the first time, which is how Kingdom Hearts functions once you have the warp unlocked, which should have been immediately. It should have just been a function of the gummy ship, but instead it takes until the end of the first cluster of worlds, so that was annoying. But yeah, that's the best way to do it, is once you've been to a place, you can teleport there instantly. The only exception I'll make for this is in games where moving around is like a major part of gameplay. I don't think the Infamous games have any fast travel points, and that's fine. If they did have fast travel points, I never used them. Spider-Man games almost never have fast travel points. And again, that's fine. Web swinging is fun, or at least it is if they're doing it right. And the Assassin's Creed games usually have fast travel points, but I don't use them because moving around in those games is fun, or if it's not, then the game is bad. On the one hand, yes.
He even got metaphorically castrated at one point. He lost the Keyblade to his male rival, who is possessed by the spirit of an older man. I feel like there's anything to analyze. It analyzes itself.
This whole reclimb of Hollow Bastion was pretty unnecessary, too.
Yeah, I think there was one of those early Final Fantasy games where, like, the end is just going through all the same dungeons again with, like, a higher level.
I know Castlevania Symphony of the Night did that. You could get a fake ending by just defeating what is actually the game's middle boss. But if you have the correct item and defeat the boss in the correct way, it unlocks the second half of the game, which is just the entire first half of the game, but upside down with harder monsters. There is no particular reason besides sanity that Marvel and Star Wars can't show up in Kingdom Hearts, and sanity did not prevent them from adding Pirates of the Caribbean, so...
And Tron, don't forget Tron. Kermit the Frog is clearly a Princess of Heart, right? He's so pure-hearted.
Well, I mean, all 7 are accounted for, but he does kill and replace Snow White. Hello, Internet. My name is Chamomile.
And I am the ghost of Sigmund Freud.
My nemesis! You have arrived!
I invented the field of psychoanalysis. I came up with talk therapy. I may have done a lot of cocaine, but everybody was at the time. Like, if you go to a therapist and you sit down and you talk with them, I'm the one who had that idea first.
That feels sufficiently obvious that I'm pretty sure someone would have figured it out eventually, just as soon as they stopped blaming mental illness on, like, demonic possession. I'm pretty sure your main contribution that, that because we were cursed to live in the timeline where you got there first, was this relentless obsession. I joked about you being obsessed with penises. I thought that I was, like, being mean. And then Requiem was like, yeah, no, that's basically exactly correct. I mean, I assume Disney has the copyrights to your likeness.
They do. I'm not even sure how they got it. All psychiatrists are going to have to register with Disney. There's kind of a homoerotic subtext in the fact that the best Keyblade is the one that he gets from interaction with his male rival, isn't?
Dude, are you just now getting the homoerotic subtext? We made that joke in, like, episode 1.
You're attacking a phallus symbol!
Look, sometimes a giant horn on top of a creature's head is just a cigar.
It's a penis!
I feel like I've got the upper hand just because, like, I was trying to make a sarcastic joke about how that's totally a phallic symbol, and I couldn't find it. Other than being vaguely cylindrical, there's nothing there. Like, what are the horns, then? Are those also... Is this a three-penised monster?
It could be. Of the Kingdom Hearts series is somebody's repressed sexual dysfunction.
All you've done is reveal how myopic and Western-focused you are. The designers were Japanese. They aren't repressing shit.
Then why does Squall have 3 belts? Seriously. Why does Squall have 3 belts? I just noticed that.
Because Tetsuya Nomura.
Good luck.
Good luck. I already beat the boss. This is the easy part.
See, it's not over. You got to find the Heart of Darkness. And what could the Heart of Darkness be?
A meditation on how efforts to intervene on the behalf of other cultures can end in disaster and result in making everything worse.
Probably. I haven't been paying attention. Yeah, actually, in the 1500s, people started writing stories about visiting the moon. Because that's when we figure out the moon is a physical thing and not part of the spirit world. So in theory, you could actually travel to it. There was a book called The Man in the Moon, and then a parody written by Cyrano de Bergerac, I think also called The Man in the Moon. Oh, and Aphra Behn even wrote one. And Margaret Cavendish was one of the first authors of utopian fiction, and she had a vision of a future world. So it's sort of time travel-y. They call the Blazing World. It's a planet ruled by an empress, and she has basically spaceships, and they launch missiles and stuff. But this is like the 1600s. So she doesn't say missiles, it's like flaming bodies. Because you get stuff like magical realism, which is very like literary and is part of the canon, but is not, super grounded in like the real world.
No, I mean it's fantasy when a literary type person writes it.
Pretty much.
And like a Game of Thrones has lots of literary flourishes to it, which gets particularly annoying when people who have never read any literary fiction read a Game of Thrones and assume that George R. R. Martin invented foreshadowing.
What I really hate is when people say Game of Thrones is like Dungeons and Dragons, or that he was inspired by Dungeons and Dragons when he clearly was not.
Yeah, no, it's War of the Roses fan fiction. Obviously.
The only similarities is that it's fantasy, and Dungeons and Dragons is fantasy pastiche pretty much. But Game of Thrones does not feel like somebody's D&D campaign that they filed the serial numbers off at all.
If anyone was building that theory based on the fact that George R. R. Martin wrote short stories about Githyanki and Githzerai back in the 70s, the plagiarism went the other way on that one. You can see that in full force in Dark Lord. Except you can't. Because once again, it's not out yet. I keep setting myself up to shill for a product that I haven't released yet. I'm not good at this.
You're in a giant crevasse?
Maybe.
See, what Sora is seeking is the primal scene. Do you know what the primal scene is?
Using my powers of prediction, I'm going to guess something dumb.
You're incorrect. The primal scene is when the child, usually as an actual infant in the parent's room in their crib, witnesses the parents having intercourse and then represses it. They try to think of it as them having a physical fight, and that's when the father turns from a figure of trust into a rival for the mother's love. And
I'm pretty sure I was exactly right in my original assessment.
you might say to me, but Freud, number one, you can't build psychology on that because that basically doesn't happen at all anymore. And you might even say, number two, you can't build psychology on that because it used to be there would be one room in the house and there would be one bed in the house and everyone would sleep in the same bed. So not only would you regularly witness your parents having intercourse, you'd be in the same bed as it happened. I think I finally defeated Chamomile.
I mean, you just defeated yourself. I wasn't sure what else to add to that. Like, yes, those things you just said, I would in fact say them.
Why are we back in the Colosseum? Is this going to be a thing where you see all the worlds you've been to?
Yep.
Oh, you know what that might be then? You know what we could call that?
A penis?
Might it be the... You're close. Might it be the return of the repressed?
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's just trying to establish the stakes. You know, like if we fail here, then all of these worlds will eventually be destroyed and all of our cool adventures will have been for nothing. But, you know, look at me trying to apply basic plot structure instead of psychotic psychoanalysis.
I replayed Breath of Fire 3, and there's a mini game where you build a village for a bunch of fairies. But it doesn't really start to benefit you until, like, the very end of the game, and at that point, the benefits are not worth it. Like, you already have all the stuff it can offer you, so it's like, alright, that was a waste of time.
Yeah. It's kind of like how the prize for completing the hardest boss or dungeon in the game will be a weapon that is now useless because you have already overcome every challenge. There is definitely a strong theme of descent in this final dungeon, which is a very Jungian theme.
How dare you?
The three best Keyblades in the game besides Ultima Weapon, which is a very gamey thing. But there is Oblivion has the highest attack power. Oathkeeper has the highest attack power of all the Keyblades that give you extra mana. And the Keyblade that Bell gives you is balanced between them.
Huh.
So apparently Bell is, you know, your strongest friend right there alongside Riku and Kairi.
Yeah, and you've had all of 0 interactions with her. So we're on Pirates of the Caribbean world now?
Is this my island?
No, Sora. It's Pirates of the Caribbean world. Weren't you listening?
I'm not currently a ghost, but I'm not truly alive yet. I'm still feeding on the psychosexual subtext of Kingdom Hearts, and I'm starting to manifest a physical body. I do appear to be 1,000 feet tall, and I do intend to go on as soon as I'm done.
Ah, shit, there's more than enough psychosexual tension in here to manifest you, isn't there? No, it's fine. I'll just have to defeat you before that can happen.
But look, Xehanort's bringing out his shadow self.
Which is a Jungian concept.
I created Young in a laboratory.
The shadow selves of Young are the heartless that you created. You're basically saying
Yes,
that you're
I'm
Ansem.
Xehanort! I'm Xehanort! Yes, but never with me talking to you in the real world.
This is fair. I don't know, as far as boss fight gimmicks, though, it seems pretty weak.
Yeah, Kojima tried it in one of the Metal...
I can't tell if you're joking.
I am not. The real-world history of psychology is actually loosely based on... But you realize the plot is kind of incoherent, because Xehanort is really a volcano. It's like Yahweh.
I assume that plot point is in Kingdom Hearts 3 somewhere.
You kept insinuating that Requiem was into werewolves because that's a projection of your own fantasies about Goofy.
I'm pretty sure it's because I'm editing his novel about werewolves.
That sounds made up. Who would write a novel about werewolves? Oh, and Xehanort's a Bishonen. Of course he is.
I mean, he's a Final Fantasy villain, obviously.
He just had to lose his shirt at some point.
By the way,
He'll never
Xehanort is
win.
now 12 feet tall. Like,
Yeah, and I'm 1,000 feet tall and in the real world as well. Because I am Sigmund Freud and I'm Xehanort.
but you're not corporeal yet. I've got, like, I don't know, 4 minutes to figure out how to stop you.
You can't. You're fighting your repressed sexual desire, apparently. In the form of a shirtless man. That might be Jungian, but I created Young in a lab because I'm Xehanort.
I mean, you say repressed, but if this guy offered me a blowjob, I'm pretty sure I'd just say yes.
Well, all humans begin in a state of bisexuality anyways.
Dare I ask for the explanation behind that?
It's been long enough since I've read it that I've forgotten.
I'm going to assume it's got something to do with wanting to have sex, like have a threesome with both your mother and your father.
Probably.
And then, like, after you get the Oedipal complex where you see your father as a rival for your mother's love, that's when you have to pick a side. Oh my god, you've infected me! It's inside me!
And then women have an electric complex that I don't remember the details of.
I mean, I'm not super surprised to learn that you consider women so unimportant as to have forgotten your own theories about them.
See, everything is uncanny because everything is unhome-like because the only true home is the womb. Everything is unsettling because we always compare it back to the primordial womb.
I mean, I don't actually love being dark, cramped, and wet.
That you know of.
The earth is beginning to, like, buckle underneath your weight as your footprints are, like, digging into the ground, so that can't be a good sign. But you haven't started the rampage yet, which I figure is going to be priority 1 once you're actually fully corporealized, so I figure I've still got some time.
I mean, thankfully for me, Utah is filled with repression.
Yeah,
It's
no,
a
that's fair.
It's a rich feasting ground.
I mean, I guess that's why you decided to attack me in particular. I can't be the only one who slagged off Freudianism in the world. But, you know, coming after me does make sense. Just in that, yeah, by the time you're finished with Utah, you'll be unstoppable.
You're attacking a phallus.
But again, like, it's just like the horn, where just because this thing is vaguely cylindrical, sticking out of the front of a Bishonen and huge and veiny, okay, this one works.
Is it gonna spit anything at you?
Okay, and now I've got Donald back in my party, so, you know, that's gonna make things a little bit harder. Oh god, I have fallen victim to the 15th Magnus entity. Sigmund Freud!
To truly defeat him, you have to accept him. Embrace your fate, Chamomile. Become a long-haired pretty boy.
I'll never be a long-haired pretty boy. Although not for lack of trying. You may be like 30 seconds away from total corporealization. And we've still got the entire ending cutscene to go. I feel like there should be a but here, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of out of aces to play here, so I'm just gonna grr defiantly at you.
Yes, it's too
Grr.
late. Freudianism is triumphant. I walk the earth yet again.
If there's anything that I know from Kingdom Hearts, it's that my friendship with Requiem is the greatest power in the world. and will arbitrarily defeat you in the 11th hour.
But didn't you kill Requiem and like imprison his soul in doll? And did he hate you before, like with the monkey's paws and the needful things store and whatever happened to Jade Empire? Like, I don't think you were actually friends. I'm pretty sure you're enemies.
Come on!
That's what you'll never understand, Freud. We're the only two people who are so monstrously sociopathic as one another. I could never be friends with anyone else but him, because everyone else has buried somewhere in the heart at least some kind of shred of empathy. Unless they're Republicans, in which case they lack class. Either way, I can't be friends with them.
No! Ah!
Don't give up.
How can this be?
Come on, Sora.
No!
We can do it.
Ah! Oh god. Cam, I'm back. I have a physical body again.
Yeah, that'll be the remnants of Sigmund Freud's. You're welcome.
Cam. What the fuck?
I want to have a response to that, but I've got nothing. That's kind of where I'm at too. Yeah, see, unfortunately, I forgot there is a hidden item we have to get in order to get the boss fight with Mickey. So they kind of tease it here, but yeah.
Dang. So did we get the bad ending?
I mean, we didn't get, like, the 100% secret ending. Like, you know, Mickey is still alive, and we had to, like, join forces with him to use 2 Keyblades to seal the door to darkness from both sides. Despite the fact that this was actually the door to light, like, that was the whole plot point and how Xehanort was defeated. Except then they forget that literally 30 seconds later.
How did Kyrie get here?
Plot.
Comparing it to Jade Empire seems really apt, just because like this seems like it's doing what it is supposed to do for the most part, even as flawed as it is.
Absolutely.
Where Jade Empire was not really doing what it needed to be doing at all.
You can see sections of this game that, you know, needed a little bit more polish. Deep Jungle was not very great. The 3D combat in Atlantica was a bit of a dud. But these are exceptions to the rule. They're really not that bad. And ultimately, the beginning and the ending are both very strong.
I mean, the real Jordan of the Light was the friends we made along the way.
I mean, if by door to the light you mean mechanism for defeating the ghost of Sigmund Freud. Yeah, so, final thoughts on Kingdom Hearts?
Do you think you could drive me back to Arkansas?
Oh, shit.